no longer interested in this marriage. I have fallen in love with someone else, Ayotola said coldly. Ajoke's heart dropped. She stared at him, disbelief and pain written all over her face. What are you talking about, Ayotola? Who is this other woman? Ayotola didn't hesitate, his gaze shifting to Fikayo, who stood pretending to be shocked. It is Fikayo. I love her. She is the one I want, he said, taking Fikayo's hand. Ajoke gasping in horror. Fikayo? My own sister? Ayotola, I don't understand what you're saying. I am as surprised as Ajoke. This can't be right, Fikayo said, feigning innocence. But Ayotola was resolute, holding Fikayo's hand tighter. Ajoke, you have two choices. Accept Fikayo as my second wife or leave this house. I have made my decision, he said with a firm stern. Ajoke was speechless, unable to comprehend how her life had spiraled into this nightmare. In a small town called Iju lived a man named Adagun, who had two wives. His first wife, Tinola, gave birth to two daughters, Ireti and Fikayo, who were pampered and spoiled from birth. His second wife, Eniola, was kind and gentle, and she gave birth to one daughter, Ajoke. Life seemed peaceful until tragedy struck. Eniola fell gravely ill when Ajoke was just 16. Despite all efforts, Eniola passed away, leaving Ajoke heartbroken and alone. A few years later, Adagun also died, leaving behind his grieving daughter, Tinola, and her two daughters. After her father's death, Ajoke's life took a sharp turn. Tinola, along with Ireti and Fikayo, began to show their true colors. They made Ajoke do all the housework, from cooking and cleaning to fetching firewood, miles away from home. She carried heavy loads, washed the dirty clothes, and cooked meals that she wasn't allowed to eat. Ajoke often cried alone, cursing her fate and blaming her parents for leaving her to suffer in the hands of her cruel stepmother and stepsisters. One day, while fetching firewood, Ajoke struggled to lift a heavy bundle when she nearly lost her balance. A young man, Ayotola, who was passing by, rushed to help her. Ayotola was a fruit seller returning from the market. He helped Ajoke with the wood and offered a kind smile. "Thank you," Ajoke said, brushing away a tear. "No one ever helps me." "You looked like you needed it," Ayotola replied softly. "What's your name?" "Ajoke," she said shyly. "I'm from the other side of town." As they parted ways, Ajoke couldn't stop thinking about Ayotola's kindness. However, a life of suffering continued. Ireti and Fikayo spent their days attending parties and living carefree lives, while Ajoke remained trapped in her daily chores. One morning, Tinola sent Ajoke to the market to buy foodstuffs. As she was selecting her items, someone tapped her on the shoulder. She turned around and saw Ayotola smiling at her. "Ajoke, right?" he asked. "I remember you," Ajoke smiled, surprised. "Ayotola, what are you doing here?" "I sell fruit at the corner shop," he explained, pointing. "I saw you walk by and thought I would say hello. Let me help you with those bags." Ajoke hesitated but then nodded. As they walked home, they chatted about their lives. Ayotola told Ajoke about his humble fruit business, and she shared bits of her struggles living with her stepmother and stepsisters. When they arrived, Ireti and Fikayo spotted them and immediately burst into laughter. "Look at her," Ireti snickered, "talking to a poor fruit seller. Perfect match for our little servants." Ajoke's face burned with humiliation, but she thanked Ayotola and went inside. From then on, they met regularly at the market, and Ayotola became her confidant and comforter. Meanwhile, Ireti and Fikayo set their sights on marrying rich men. Ireti soon found a wealthy suitor, and a grand wedding was planned. Afterward, Fikayo also secured a rich husband, and the sisters left their mother's house, flaunting their newfound wealth. Ajoke, however, was left alone with no suitors. She had no idea that Tinola and her stepsisters had been secretly telling potential suitors that she was mentally unstable, driving them all away. One evening, as Ajoke was running an errand, she bumped into Ayotola. He noticed tears in her eyes and asked, "What's wrong, Ajoke?" "My stepmother said I am cursed," she sobbed. "She says I will never find a husband." Ayotola's heart ached for her. He comforted her, and then they parted ways. When he returned to his apartment that night, he considered asking Ajoke for her hand in marriage. After all, they have been friends for a while, and his feelings towards her is genuine. After much deliberation, he decided to ask Ajoke for her hand in marriage, hoping she would not reject him. The next time they met, he said, "Ajoke, I care about you deeply. I may not have much, but I promise to cherish and protect you. Will you marry me?" Ajoke was taken aback. She hadn't expected this, but Ayotola's sincerity moved her. She thought about it and eventually agreed. Ayotola was happy that Ajoke accepted his proposal. Then he went to Tinola to ask for her blessings. Tinola, eager to get rid of Ajoke, agreed without first learning about Ayotola's background or where he came from, mocking the match behind closed doors. The wedding was small, with only a few attendees, and Ireti and Fikayo showed up merely to mock their stepsister. After the wedding, Ajoke moved into Ayotola's small apartment. She began unpacking when she heard a car horn outside. Ayotola smiled and said, "Our ride is here." Ajoke was confused. What do you mean? "Aren't we staying here?" Ayotola led her outside where a sleek blue Benz awaited. The driver opened the door for Ajoke, treating her like royalty. Shocked, she asked, "Ayotola, what's going on?" Ayotola explained, "I am not a simple fruit seller, Ajoke. I disguised myself to find someone who would love me for who I am, not for my wealth. You are that person." They arrived at a grand mansion where maids greeted Ajoke like a queen. Tears filled her eyes as she realized that she had found true love and kindness in Ayotola. She thanked him for seeing her worth when no one else did. As the madam of the house, Ajoke treated the maids and staff with respect and kindness. Back in Iju, Ireti and Fikayo were thrown out of their husbands' homes due to their terrible behavior. They returned to Chinola's house penniless and bitter. One day, news of Ayotola's lavish parents' memorial party at his opulent mansion reached the sisters. The sisters, eager to mingle with the wealthy guests, dressed in their finest and attended, hoping to attract new suitors. At the event, they were stunned to see Ajoke dressed elegantly. Ireti whispered, "Is that Ajoke? What is she doing here?" Her voice dripping with disbelief. "She must be one of the servants," Fikayo, the eldest sister, scoffed. But when they saw Ajoke being treated as the lady of the house, their shock turned to rage. Ajoke spotted them, and the memories of their cruelty flooded back. She rushed to her room, tears streaming down her face. Ayotola found her and gently asked, "What's wrong?" She explained everything, and Ayotola comforted her. Later, after the party, Ireti and Fikayo approached Ajoke to apologize. "We are sorry for everything, Ajoke," Ireti said, feigning remorse. Ajoke struggled with her feelings but chose to forgive them, encouraged by her husband's kindness. After the memorial party, as guests began to leave, Ayotola noticed Ireti and Fikayo looking tired. "Ireti, Fikayo, it's quite late, and your town is so far far away. Why don't you stay the night? You have more than enough room. Ayotola said. The sisters exchanged quick glances, masking the excitement at the opportunity to stay longer. Thank you, Ayotola. We really appreciate it. It's such a relief, Fikayo said in a tired tone. Yes, thanks. We'll be happy to stay, Ireti replied gratefully. Ajoke stepped in, smiling warmly. Let me show you to your room. Your family, so please feel at home. She led them down a hallway lined with beautiful artworks and opened a door to a luxurious guest room. The walls were painted a soft gold with rich fabrics draping the windows and a bed that looked fit for royalty. An ornate chandelier hung from the ceiling, casting a warm, inviting glow. The sisters were stunned. This is unbelievable. Who knew this was how Ajoke was living? Fikayo whispered to Ireti. I would never have guessed. I'm speechless. Ireti whispered back. I hope it's comfortable enough if you need anything. Don't hesitate to ask. Ajoke said with a warm smile. It's perfect, Ajoke. Thank you so much. Fikayo replied with a smile. Once Ajoke left, the sisters' expressions turned from awe to envy. So this is how she lives. And we thought she was miserable. Look at this place. It is a palace, Ireti said with anger. She's been playing us for fools all this time, pretending she's got nothing. And look at her now, sitting with jealousy. Fikayo grabbed her phone and called their mother, Tiniola. Tiniola's phone buzzed as she was about to fall asleep. Fikayo, why are you calling this late? She said, worried. Mama, you won't believe what we are seeing. Ajoke's husband, Ayotola, is insanely rich. We are in their mansion right now. It is like a palace, Ireti interrupted. We always thought she was suffering, but she is living like a queen. Tiniola paused for a second, then sneered. So, Ajoke's luck has turned. This is unacceptable. That girl does not deserve this happiness. What do we do, Mama? She's living the life we deserve. Fikayo asked anxiously, biting her finger. Calm down, my daughters. We'll put an end to this. Here is what we will do. I will visit an herbalist tomorrow and get a charm that will disrupt their marriage. But we need time to work. Mama, how do we stay longer without raising suspicion? Fikayo asked. Simple. Ireti, you will pretend to have a severe stomach ache. I will bring the charm when they call me. And that way, we can stay longer and do what we need to do. The sisters grinned wickedly, pleased with their mother's cunning plan. We will do exactly as you have said, Mama. By the time you are done, Ajoke's fairy tale will be over, Fikayo said with a widened smirk. The next morning, the sisters put it into action as instructed. As everyone was having breakfast, Ireti suddenly clutched her stomach and doubled over, groaning. Ah, my stomach! I don't know what is happening. The pain is too much. She winced in fake pain. Ajoke rushed to her, concern etched on her face. Ireti, what is wrong? Should we call a doctor? It must be something she ate. I think we should call Mama. She will know what to do, Fikayo said, playing along. Ayotola and Ajoke quickly agreed, and within a few hours, Tinola arrived carrying a small bag. She rushed in, pretending to be distressed. Ah, Ireti, my daughter, what happened? Let me take care of you. She turned to Ajoke and Ayotola with a convincing look of gratitude. Thank you so much for letting me come. I will make sure she's okay. This must be a sign that I should stay a while to look after my daughter. Also, I want to sincerely apologize for every pain my daughters and I have caused to you in the past. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. It is fine, Mama. I've forgiven you. You are welcome to stay for as long as you need, Ajoke said, holding her hands. Please feel at home. We will do whatever we can to help, said Ayotola. But as Ajoke and Ayotola returned to their daily routines, they were unaware of the sinister plot unfolding right under their roof. Ireti's fake illness gave Tinola and her daughters the time they needed to execute their evil plan and work towards destroying Ajoke's marriage from within. Meanwhile, before Tinola came to the mansion, she had consulted a powerful herbalist explaining her plight to him. Baba, my daughter's happiness is at stake, she pleaded. We need to drive that girl out of her husband's life. The herbalist handed her a small bottle of perfume. Give your daughter this perfume. Tell her to spray it on the man's clothes anytime he is not at home. He will turn against his wife and see your daughter as his only love. He also told her some incantation her daughter will say while spraying the perfume. She collected the bottle, thanked the herbalist, and left. Tinola and her daughter stayed on pretending to care for the couple. Tinola took over the kitchen, cooking for Ajoke and Ayotola daily. A smile, warm, and a manner gentle. Meanwhile, Fikayo and Ireti offered to help with the house chores, insisting on working alongside the maid. You really don't have to do this. You are our guests. Please just relax, Ajoke said, trying to persuade Fikayo and her sister not to bother doing the house chores. No, Ajoke, we want to help. It is our way of making up for everything. Please, let us do this, Fikayo insisted. We have been a burden already. It is the least we can do to show how sorry we are, Ireti said. Though Ajoke was hesitant, the sister's plea seemed genuine and she reluctantly agreed. Days turned into weeks and Tinola, Fikayo and Ireti slowly sowed seeds of trust into the couple. They were careful, never missing a chance to appear helpful, kind and remorseful. One morning, over breakfast, Ajoke told Tinola and her stepsisters of her and Ayotola's plan. Mama, Fikayo, Ireti, Ayotola and I are going on a short trip. It's just for 2 days and we'll be back before you know it. Tinola, smiling brightly. Oh, don't worry, dear. You and Ayotola go and enjoy yourselves. We will take care of everything here. Yes, just relax. You deserve it, Ireti said, smiling. We'll keep everything in order. You can count on us, Fikayo said with an assuring expression. Ajoke and Ayotola left that afternoon, unaware of the malicious intentions brewing behind Tinola and her daughter's sweet smiles. As soon as they left, as the couple's car disappeared down the road, Tinola, Fikayo and Ireti retreated to their room, eager to set their plan into motion. Tinola, closing the door, her voice low and urgent. This is our chance. We won't get a better opportunity than this. Fikayo grinning. So what's the plan? Tinola pulling out a small vial of perfume from her bag. This is the charm the herbalist gave me. It is enchanted with incantations that will ruin Ayotola's love and trust in Ajoke. Fikayo, you will take this. She handed the vial to Fikayo, who held it with a mix of fear and excitement. Tonight at midnight, when everyone is asleep, you will go into Ayotola and Ajoke's room. Spray this perfume on all of Ayotola's clothes and repeat the incantation I taught you. It will twist his heart, turn his mind against Ajoke, and eventually destroy their marriage, Tinola said. Fikayo nodded, determined. I won't fail, Mama. As night fell, They waited patiently for the house to go quiet. When the clock struck midnight, Fikayo crept out of the bed, moving silently down the dark hallway. She paused outside Ajoke and Ayotola's bedroom, listening for any signs of life. The only sound was the soft breathing of sleeping maids. Carefully, she pushed the door open, the hinge creaking slightly. She entered the room, her heart pounding as she approached Ayotola's side of the closet. Taking a deep breath, Fikayo opened the vial and sprayed the perfume over his clothes, her lips moving as she whispered incantation her mother had taught her. May your love turn cold, may your heart grow bitter, may your trust turn to dust. The scent was sharp and clawing, filling the room with an unnatural heaviness. Fikayo finished the last spray, recited the final words, and quickly slipped back out, closing the door softly behind her. She returned to her mother and Ireti, a sly smile on her face. It is done, Mama. Good. Now we wait. Soon, Ajoke's perfect little life will crumble and we will be there to watch it fall, she said, smiling wickedly. As they settled back into their beds, they felt victorious, believing they had set the perfect trap. After 2 days, Ajoke and Ayotola returned from their trip. Tinola and her daughters welcomed them warmly, their faces lit with forced smiles, and served them a delicious meal. The couple, pleased by the hospitality, resumed their daily routines. But soon, things took a sudden turn. One morning, Ayotola woke up feeling unusually irritated, his mood sore and inexplicable, hostile. He turned to Ajoke, who was still peacefully asleep beside him, and nudged her awake with a frown. Ajoke, why are you still lying in bed? You should have been up since 5 a.m., cooking and doing the house chores. Ajoke blinked in confusion, still half asleep. Ayotola, we have maids who handle all the chores. There's no need for me to. Ayotola cutting her off sharply. It does not matter if you have maids. You are the wife in this house. What exactly is your duty, if not to take care of things around here? Stunned and hurt, Ajoke got up and did as he demanded, unsure why her loving husband had suddenly turned into someone she didn't recognize. She worked tirelessly, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of everything despite the presence of the maids. Ayotola's anger continued to flare up at the slightest thing, and each outburst only left Ajoke more bewildered. Meanwhile, Tinola, Fikayo and Ireti watched with hidden glee as the charm's effects unfolded. They pretended to be concerned, often offering words of false comfort. One afternoon, Tinola and her daughters went to Ajoke's room to comfort her. Don't worry, my dear. Marriage has its ups and downs. This is just one of those challenges. God will take control, she said, placing her hand on Ajoke's shoulder. Ireti nodding in agreement. Yes, sister. It is not easy, but be patient. Things will get better. But instead of improving, Ayotola's behavior only grew worse. One morning, Ayotola abruptly announced his decision. Ajoke, I am no longer interested in this marriage. I have fallen in love with someone else. Ayotola said coldly. Ajoke's heart dropped. She stared at him, disbelief and pain written all over her face. What are you talking about, Ayotola? Who is this other woman? Ayotola didn't hesitate, his gaze shifting to Fikayo, who stood pretending to be shocked. It is Fikayo. I love her. She is the one I want, he said, taking Fikayo's hand. Ajoke gasping in horror. Fikayo? My own sister? Ayotola, I don't understand what you're saying. I am as surprised as Ajoke. This can't be right, Fikayo said, feigning innocence. But Ayotola was resolute, holding Fikayo's hand tighter. Ajoke, you have two choices. Accept Fikayo as my second wife or leave this house. I have made my decision, he said with a firm stern. Ajoke was speechless, unable to comprehend how her life had spiraled into this nightmare. Tinola seized the moment, stepping forward with a feigned look of sympathy. Ajoke, my daughter, this situation is unfortunate, but you heard your husband. We can't change his mind. You have to choose. Devastated, Ajoke retreated to her room, tears streaming down her face. The man who had once adored her now treated her like a stranger. She sent a message to Ayotola's family, and they soon arrived, holding a family meeting. However, Ayotola stood by his decision, insisting his love for Fikayo was real and final. Sensing something was amiss, his family urged Ajoke to stay, hoping he would eventually come to his senses. But staying only made things worse. Fikayo took over as the dominant wife, and with Tinola and Ireti's support, she resumed her old habit of mistreating Ajoke. So, you thought you had everything, right? Now look at you. Your husband prefers me, and there is nothing you can do about it, she said, mocking Ajoke. Ajoke became the housemaid once again, forced to handle chores that the maids were forbidden from doing. If she ever protested, Fikayo would quickly run to Ayotola, fabricating stories. When Ayotola returned back from work, Fikayo quickly ran to him, crying, fabricating lies on how Ajoke slapped her because she told her to do some chores. Ajoke slapped me today. Look at the mark on my cheek. Ajoke, how could you do such a thing? I have had enough of this. You will obey Fikayo or leave my house, Ayotola said with an angry gaze. Ajoke's daily life became unbearable, and her once luxurious home now felt like a prison. She spent her nights crying alone in the cramped boys' quarters where Ayotola had banished her. God, why is this happening to me? Not again. How long must I suffer at their hands? Please, help me, she said one night, sobbing. One afternoon, while returning from the market, exhausted and worn out, Ajoke encountered an old woman dressed in a simple white gown. The woman stopped her eyes wise and knowing. My dear, I know what you're going through. Your stepmother and sisters have bewitched your husband, turning his heart against you. Ajoke stared at the old woman, stunned that this stranger seems to know her deepest pain. Who are you? How do you know this? Ajoke said, hesitant. I am sent to help you. You are a bright child, and the spirits of your parents are with you. Tonight, under the moonlight, pour clean water into a bowl and pray into it. Speak your heart's desire over the water. In the morning, serve it to your husband during breakfast. It will reveal the truth, and make sure your stepmother and sisters drink from it too, the old woman said. Before Ajoke could ask more, the old woman vanished, leaving her standing alone. Unsure but desperate, Ajoke decided to follow the woman's instructions. That night, she filled the bowl with the clean water, praying fervently under the moonlight, pouring out her heart, anguish, and pleading for the truth to be revealed. The next morning, she served the water in a jug during breakfast. Ayotola was grumbling, barely acknowledging her presence, but she made sure they all drank it, watching closely as they did. Tinola, Fikayo and Ireti continued to bask in their victory, mocking her whenever they could. Days passed and nothing seemed to change. Ajoke began to lose hope, believing she had been deceived by the old woman. One morning, Ayotola woke up feeling disoriented and grudgy. As he turned, he was startled to find Fikayo lying beside him in bed. He jumped up, eyes wide with confusion and disgust. "What the heck are you doing in my bed?" he shouted, his voice laced with anger and bewilderment. Fikayo, still half asleep, looked at him with a mix of confusion and annoyance. "Honey, what are you talking about? I'm your wife," she replied, trying to reach out to him. Ayotola's eyes narrowed and he recoiled in disgust. "Have you lost your mind? You are not my wife," he yelled, his voice trembling with fury. "Ajoke is my wife." His shouting echoed through the house and Ajoke rushed into the room, terrified by the commotion. She looked pale and weary, dark circles shadowing her eyes from sleepless nights and constant tears. "Honey, please, tell me what's going on," Ayotola pleaded, looking from Ajoke to Fikayo, then back to his wife. "Why is Fikayo in my bed? Who did this to you? How could I not remember my own wife?" Ajoke stood there, her lip trembling as tears welled up in her eyes, unable to find the words to explain the torment she had endured. Tinola and Ireti, hearing the chaos, ran into the room, their faces pale with fear as they realized the charm was no longer working. Tinola, desperate, tried to speak up. "Ayotola, listen to me. Fikayo is..." "Shut up!" Ayotola snapped, cutting her off harshly, his eyes blazing with fury. "I don't want to hear another word from you." As Ajoke sobbed quietly, Fikayo tried to step forward and explain. But before she could utter a word, she felt an overwhelming burning spreading throughout her body. She began fanning herself feverishly, her eyes wild with fear. "It's really hot. My body is burning," Fikayo yelled, her hands flapping as she attempted to calm herself down. Ayotola and Ajoke were stunned as Fikayo's skin flushed bright crimson, her look changing to one of utter misery. Tinola and Ireti soon experienced the same excruciating heat flowing through their bodies. They began to scream and writhe in pain, clutching at their clothes as if trying to tear the heat away from their skin. "My body is burning," Fikayo screamed, her voice breaking into sobs. She could no longer bear the searing sensation that felt like it was scorching her from the inside out. We will confess. Please make it stop." The room was filled with their cries as the three women screamed in agony, begging for mercy. "Yes, it was us," Fikayo shrieked, her voice hoarse with pain. "We were behind all of it. We were jealous of Ajoke, jealous of her happiness, so we went to an herbalist and got a charm. We wanted you to hate Ajoke and marry me. We planned it all." Tinola, struggling to breathe as the heat overwhelmed her, cried out, "Forgive us, please. We just want her to suffer like we did. We never thought it would end like this." Ayotola stared at them, horrified and heartbroken. The truth of their betrayal hit him like a tidal wave, drowning him in guilt and sorrow. How could he have been so blind? How could he not have seen through their lies? Tears filled Ayotola's eyes as he turned to his wife, who stood silently, her face streaked with tears. He dropped to his knees before her, his voice breaking as he spoke. "Ajoke, I am so sorry. I have been a fool. I let them poison my heart against you. Please forgive me." Ajoke looked at her husband, seeing the genuine regret and pain in his eyes. She knew he had been manipulated, just as she had been, and while her heart was still heavy with the weight of all she had endured, she could not let bitterness consume her. She knelt beside him, taking his hands in hers. "It's not your fault, Ayotola. They bewitched you, but now you see the truth. That's all that matters," she said softly, though her voice quivered with lingering pain. Tinola and her daughters, Fikayo and Ireti, were dragged back to their town in Iju, their heads hung low in shame. The elders of the town gathered, their faces stern and unforgiving. After hearing of the treachery and wickedness they had inflicted on Ajoke and her family, the elders pronounced the judgment swiftly. You have brought disgrace and evil upon yourselves in this town, the chief elder declared, his voice echoing with finality. For your malicious deeds, you are hereby banished from Iju, never to return again. If you are seen here, you will face direct consequences. With no room for protest, Tinola and her daughters were cast out, sent away from the only home they had ever known. They left with nothing but their guilt and regrets, forever marked by the consequences of their cruelty. With time, Ayotola and Ajoke's lives slowly returned to normal. They healed together, their bonds strengthened by the trials they had faced. Eventually, they were blessed with two beautiful children, a boy and a girl, whom they raised with the values of kindness, respect, and love for all people, no matter their background. They taught their children to cherish what they had and to never let jealousy or hatred cloud their hearts, ensuring that the cycle of bitterness would never repeat. Ayotola and Ajoke's home became a place of peace and joy, a stark contrast to the darkness that had once threatened to tear them apart. Thank you for staying with me to the end. I hope you enjoyed this too. What lessons did you learn from the story? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, click the notification bell, subscribe to stay up to speed on my latest stories. See you!